Hi Taurus, come on in. You know, you come at a good time. I've just been doing some spiritual work and I'm very much in the mood to do your Taurus October reading. Tarot, of course, but I do use, for those of you who have seen me before, a lot of astrology. And of those people who have seen me before, I say a very special hello to my subscribers in the United States and Canada, United Kingdom, India, the Philippines, France, Germany, Italy, Australia, New Zealand, as well as other places. It's great to see you again. I'm very excited to be doing this reading for you. Let's see what there is in store, shall we? The spiritual energy. Okay, let's do this now. You can go in the middle, whoever you are, but I'm going to pull this one first. Well, these two have come out, so what's this? The 8 of coins. Here is the 3 of coins for you. The Page of Cups. The 5 of Cups. And the lucky last, the Queen of Coins. Okay, my friend, why don't you come down, sit down next to me? I'll shine a light down onto these so that you can see them while I do the reading for you.
All right, Taurus, here we go. What a great looking spread for you. I'll bring these cards in closer so that you can have a look at them while I give you the reading in respect of the meaning of each of them as I see it today. Now, where is my pen? I'll just reach and get it, and it helps me to see what's going on. Well, the 8 of coins, the 8 of earth. Now, let's have a look at this image. Well, frankly, the figures in it don't really mean much to me. I suspect it's probably the artist and his wife and daughter, I would say. But what the artist is doing is he's painting the 8 coins. They're in the forms of the cards themselves. The artist climbs a stepladder to paint a coin showing first the magician. The next coin down is that of the Popess with the sign of the moon below, then the Empress with Venus, the Emperor with Jupiter. On the bottom left, the Strength card with Mars, then the Star card with Mercury. And what do we have up here? We have, looks like Judgment with Saturn, and then the World card with the Sun. Well, the number 8, the 8 in numerology is great for me because it means power, decision, balance, and let's pull it out a bit so that we can see something in relation to the other cards as well. What do I see it here? Well, first of all, I call this card the Lord of Prudence. And I see in it the Sun ruling the first decan of Virgo, that period of the 23rd of August to the 2nd of September. Now Mercury, this number 8 is important also for the purposes of this card because mystically I see Mercury as being associated with the number 8. And Mercury is also the planet of and is exalted in ordinary astrology in the sign of Virgo. You see, I have the Sun ruling Virgo, Mercury in 8, and in ordinary astrology, Mercury being the ruler of Virgo and also exalted in Virgo. So this is very, very favorable. And here, the Sun energizes Virgo's hard work and attention to detail. I think that what this is saying to you is that sometimes there is a strength in doing nothing at all. Sow the seed and sit back and wait for the harvest to come. Yeah, I'm also getting the idea of growth and birth around here. I'm very much getting that sort of a concept that's coming. So you may hear of a pregnancy or a birth during this particular month. But I think what the card is saying to you is that you need time and patience to develop something. Don't rush it, as it's a long-term thing, and be prepared to bide your time and let it come to fruition. Now, you'll know what that is when you see it. I think what this card is doing is that it is encouraging you to keep doing what you're doing, as it is eventually going to lead to success. Sure, it's going to require a lot of dedication, of focus, and patience, but as time passes, you are going to get closer to your goal. Now, it may not be apparent to you, but events are unfolding in the background that are going to lead you to your destination. Certainly, you may need some additional training or study, boning up, research, learning things on the internet, but you'll need these things to advance to where you want to go with your projects. I think what this is also saying to me is that you can sometimes overextend yourself, you know. You're very much a giving person. And I think what this is saying is that you need to manage your energies between the different parts of your life. Now let's have a look at this other card that's sitting below it, which is the Five of Cups. Now, I'll just make a point about the number 5 when I start. For me, it refers to an area of divine emanation, which essentially is that of balancing, of counterbalancing. It is, one can see in the 4 that precedes it, this outward bound, this total giving, whereas sometimes giving something to someone all the time is actually not good for them. So what the divinity recognizes is that sometimes it's necessary to pull back from the giving, to pull back to ration the giving, I suppose. And that is a completely sensible thing to do. The number 5 is very much associated for me with the planet of Mars, and Mars can be quite impersonal. It can be rambunctious, it can be fiery, and it is a card which I think sometimes can cause something of chaos or exaggeration in things. But what do we have here in the card itself? This might give us a clue to its meaning. This is the first time I've seen this card. Well, here we have someone who I would say is the patriarch of the family, who is on his deathbed and dictating his last will and testament. And here is a notary with a quill taking the words from the old man as to who is to get what. These Hebrew letters which are on the cup, for us mystics, we need to have a pretty good understanding of Hebrew, and it gives me clues to what's going on. There is a kid that's knocked over a cup and a green liquid's coming out. Now that green means to me that there will be renewal, there will be rebirth, that whatever else is happening in this card, there is going to be coming back, there's going to be rejoicing again. Just as I talked about that withdrawal, that rationing, the good is going to come again, the good will come again. And the number 6 that follows it is really all about love and happiness. This card here, there really only seems to be one person that's crying into the cup for the old man. Now what can I say that it means? Well, I think what I'm seeing here from an astrological point of view is, what am I getting? I'm getting Mars in the first decan of Scorpio. That's 23rd of October to the 2nd of November. Now, in classical astrology, Mars is the ruler of Scorpio, and so we'd expect a positive aspect to this card because, as I say, Mars rules Scorpio, but it's taking place in this number 5. This number 5 numerologically is coming through in here as well, and that can often be about exaggeration and chaos. and fire. Now what this is doing then is, because I have Mars in Scorpio and I have Mars here, we have extra fire. So the energy is in imbalance, and what is happening is that the fire is evaporating the waters of Scorpio. I think what we can say is that there is the possibility that for a moment, maybe a moment during the month, and the other cards are completely positive around it, but there is, I think, a moment that's going to happen where you're going to say to yourself, look, okay, so look, things didn't work out as I expected them to do. But what this card is doing is it's saying, don't wallow around in self-pity and regret, because new and better things are in store. It's possible that you are, in some respect, could have become, or maybe thinking that you are disillusioned with the life ahead of you in your future, but don't be. If you've been feeling disappointed by someone else's actions, find it in your heart to forgive them, because forgiveness releases you. It doesn't release the person that is forgiven. And when we have regret, and when we have problems with other people, and they weigh in our minds, what we do is we drop an anchor. And as our ship goes forward, or tries to go forward, it's stuck because we've dropped an anchor, and it's kept us connected to that time or to that experience. What forgiveness does is it pulls up your anchor and allows you to move on, and the ship sails ahead into better seas. I think the feelings that may come about, which could surface when this card arises, can often give rise to, in some respects, a fear of taking another risk, or making an effort in the future, sort of hiding away in some place where you can't be disappointed again, where there is some previous disappointment. Well, yesterday is previous after all, it's not now, and the now, which is where we live, is what is important. But because this card has shown up, I think it is your soul urging you to release a disappointment, and that maybe forgiveness is called for. And I think that what's going to happen is any drama associated with this particular card that may have surfaced during the month is one that will be gone within a period of 5, and it could be 5 weeks. I'd say we'll well and truly see it done. Look, there is a spiritual being, a center of consciousness that is associated, an energy that is associated with this card for me when I'm getting this, and it relates to an angel, if you like to call it. Angels are messengers from the divine. Angel is from the Greek angelos, meaning messenger. The angel's name is Vavaleia, one of the 72 names of God, and it substitutes for the word Lord in a book of the Old Hebrew Bible and the Old Testament in the Christian Bible, the book of Psalms, and I'm pretty sure it's chapter 88, verse 14, which says, "As for me, I cry out to you, O Lord, each morning my prayer greets you." Now, meditating on that verse and on the angel's name of Vavaleia, it unleashes the power of mind over matter, soul over ego, and the spiritual over the physical. Your goal is not to renounce the physical world, but to eliminate its control over you and become the true captain of your ship, the true captain of your fate, and everything will become possible. Now, let's see what else there is to see here. Well, I'm drawn to this card in the middle. It seems to be going in order, doesn't it? The Page of Cups. Here we have someone who is very much... Well, the first thing that I'll say about pages is that they, esoterically, they represent the element of air. And Cups, of course, is water. So we have the airy part of water. Now, air and water can be fine. They can lead to great stillness, or they can push up great seas and great mountains of water and tsunamis and things like that. At worst, people can be lost at sea, but people can have great fun at the sea and with the air. What this is saying is, I think that, look, the page is, for me, I think, in this context, really one of feminine energy, even though it's drawn as a male. And the drawing of this male, for me, is one where it's, well, the garb is that of the Swiss Guard in the Vatican. This is a Renaissance deck, so there'll be lots of allusions to the Catholic version of Christianity, because it's 1500s. Here is, in the background, behind this green field, is a monastery, and I'd say that's probably the monastery of Athos. Now, in this cup here, you can probably see... Can I get this any closer for you? Well, there are two winged people, a male and a female, naked and in rapture with one another. And here is a quill and a notebook. Well, what can we say about this page of cups? Something which is quite feminine, I think, for me. As I say, notwithstanding the masculine depiction in this particular card, I think that what I'm seeing is someone who could be in your life, I think, at this time, and I think it's liable to be someone who is a Scorpio or a Sagittarius or a Libra. Someone who has a connection with the Pacific Ocean, I'd say. So someone living down that west coast or from the west coast or of the United States. Could well be in particular to do with that, obviously down through South America and through Asia and Oceania, Australia, New Zealand. I think it relates to a young woman who is very gracious, quite voluptuous, sweet, gentle, kind, and romantic. I think because this is the airy part of water, I'm getting a sort of a faculty of crystallization coming here. This person represents the power of water to give substance to idea, to support life, and to form the basis of chemical combinations. Now, the character of the person, I think, is, as I say, infinitely gracious. All sweetness, voluptuousness, gentleness, kindness, tenderness are in her character. But she kind of lives in a world of romance and in the perpetual dream of rapture. Now, superficially, she might be thought to be selfish and lazy, but I think that this is really a false impression because she goes about her work, I think, silently and effortlessly without making a big fuss about it. I think what we can say here is that we're looking at a person, and this might be a time for you also, where you do have a great degree of gentleness and kindness associated with yourself. You'll have depth, a lot of depth. That Pacific Ocean feeling that I'm getting is, great depth. But I would just say, don't get lost in romance. This is a person, I think, who kind of has their eyes shut to the environment. She can be a bit of a dreamer, I think, this person, and has a tendency maybe to kind of check out of life or doesn't really get what's going on. So just make sure you stay very grounded and what have you during this period. It's okay to be dependent on other people during this time. It's quite okay to be dependent on other people at this time, and do seek advice and support from other people, because you will be giving in time a lot in return. I'd have this thought in mind, and it's this: the more I love myself, the more I can share with others. Trust your feelings and your intuition, because I think that you are definitely on the right path. Yes, let's have a look at this Queen of Coins that's down here. And let's have a look to see what she has to say for us. First of all, well, she's a figure that's reminiscent of many figures drawn in Renaissance art. There is a coin up here depicted on which is a mother suckling 2 children, one on each breast. There is a calf's head, cooked, ready for her to eat down here. Actually, I had calf's head in Heidelberg in Germany one evening. Extremely delicious. It wasn't presented like this. It was all cut up. Foot on a red cushion, which means power. And down here she has a plate of what looks like pills and medicines. In the background, very green and fruitful meadow. Well, who is it likely to be? The Queen of the Thrones of Earth. Now, let's have a look. I think that I'm really getting the feeling of Capricorn around this and Sagittarius. It's a woman who is ambitious, affectionate and kind. Now, this may well also be relating to you. These are that kindness that's coming through again. Charming, timid, practical, quiet, domesticated. This is a person, I think, who is ambitious but works with instinct and intuition rather than with intellect. So I'm not saying that you don't have an intellect. In fact, you have a very fine intellect. But what I'm saying is that I think that this is probably a month where you really want to rely on intuition rather than getting analysis paralysis or over-intellectualizing situations. You will, I think, be relatively subdued and quiet, hard-working and practical, sensible. People, I get the feeling with this woman here that she represents someone who possesses the finest of the quieter qualities and can, in a reticent and unassuming fashion, actually be very sexy and lustful, and can get into the drink and drugs almost as if they can only realize their essential happiness by getting out of their sides. Well, someone who's very sexy and lustful while being quiet, it's always the quiet ones, isn't it? In my experience. Oh, I probably shouldn't say that. I think what we have here is immense sense of love and depth of power to give affection. I think what we're also seeing is that you will be, I think, practical, compassionate, nurturing towards others, and also to your own circumstances. So in a sense, I think this is saying go with the flow. She also represents health and diet, as I think she's quite physical, being associated with the earth. So go forward quietly and without an overt attack on existing situations. You know, that's what this was saying as well, wasn't it? Let things grow, let things come together and say, this is what I am looking forward to. This is what I am trying to achieve. Let it happen over time. There is a strength in sometimes doing nothing at all. There is, I think, fruitfulness, physical nourishment, and overcoming what has been probably something of a barren period for you, I think. This is, in some respects, I think this month is something of a turning point. And I'm given to think this even more so by the appearance of this card here, which is the 3 of Coins. Now, the first thing that I'll say about the 3 is that numerologically, I love it because it relates to extension, to development, to generation, to gestation, to increase. This is what I call the let's have a look at it closer, the Lord of material work. Now, here we have a figure, or a statue really. Now, at first sight, one might think, because it's a Renaissance period, that this might be Leonardo da Vinci, but I actually think it's actually a statue honoring someone who is actually versed in the arts, from this palette here, the sciences, due to these items at the bottom there. And these symbols here also relate to the occult knowledge. So people who have an awareness of science and art and the occult. On the coins here, there is the chariot of Venus, there is the ruler Julius Caesar, I would assume, and here is, well, it's just someone playing with a tambourine and running about. The astrology of this is Mars in the second decan of Capricorn. Now, Mars is about energy, assertion, vitality, and Capricorn is about ambition and practicality and making things tangible. Right? That's also what this page was talking about. You're actually coming to the point now where you can actually make things tangible. Your ideas can get things to happen. You're making things happen during this period. And I think that Capricorn's materialism benefits from the energy and the activity of Mars. So I think that this card signifies that investing time and effort in work, however broadly you want to consider that, is actually going to turn out very favorably. I think there's a possibility of a new job or an increase in responsibility here. There'd be career satisfaction, doing a good job. Continued progression is what I see. Productivity. I actually also see teamwork associated with this card, consulting with others, getting other people's advice, working in groups with people, getting outside help in. I think that what we can say very much is the case, that what this is going to be signifying for you is that there is, in a nutshell, going to be reward for your hard work and dedication. Your skills and knowledge are going to move you forward. Now, of course, this is also, I think, saying to me that there are going to be good outcomes for career, for business projects and practical matters in general. These wheels here, or coins, they are in balance, and you can see the roots which have got crystals hanging from them. It's got that earthy quality of growth and what have you, and balance in nature. I think that this is saying that you need to follow things which are fulfilling to your body, your mind, and your heart. I think that life generally is going to be in balance for you, and you're going to reap the rewards of a balanced life. There's going to be a great ability to stick with things and overcome obstacles, and you should now hoist up your spinnaker, because you can set sail and the wind is going to be in your sails. You know, there is another reference to, I'm just thinking the book of Psalms, again, that I referred to, and I'm sure it's Psalm 6, verse 4. My whole being is stricken with terror while you, Lord, oh, how long, O Lord, turn, reassure me, deliver me as befits your faithfulness. Now, meditating on that will free you. You will no longer be a prisoner of your past, right? Or any regrets, earlier traumas, any pain or suffering that you've had. And you'll have the courage to let go, to forgive, and to move forward to your great psychological, material, and spiritual benefit. Well, that's the way it is for you this month.
Well, there we are. There it is. The month of October for you. I really hope you enjoyed that reading as much as I enjoyed giving it to you. I think it's going to be a fantastic month, and you've got great things in store for you, so well done. All I can say is this, is that you've been absolutely brilliant. You've been fantastic, as you always are, and really the only thing that remains for me to say is this, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, bye for now.